What's going to happen with Ronaldo? Let me know what you think in the comments below. So in this week's Premier League roundup, we'll start there at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea won, Man United won. A last-minute equaliser from a Casemiro header meant that Man United took a point, but arguably they deserved all 3 points. I do think on the day, Man United were the better team, but Chelsea managed to get the noses in front through a penalty. I do think it was a penalty and a foul. And then at 1-0, you're thinking, well, Chelsea are going to win now. But fair play to Man United, they didn't give up, and Casemiro scored a header. But Ronaldo was, of course, left out the matchday squad. So that begs the question, what is going to happen to him and his Man United career? Ronaldo is undeniably one of the greatest ever players of all time, but his fitness is declining because he is 37 now after all. And clearly, Ten Hag doesn't want him in the system. And in my opinion, it's clear that Man United overall, as a team, are better without him. And more importantly, Erik Ten Hag doesn't want Ronaldo to play up front because Ronaldo can't do the running that Rashford and Elanga and Sancho can do. So he's just not in Erik Ten Hag's plans. So I think it's best probably for all parties that Ronaldo leaves. Whether that be in January or the summer remains to be seen, but I do personally think Ronaldo will leave Man United at the very least by the summer, probably. You would expect that because he just simply won't accept being on the bench for Man United, will he? Where he goes to is a different question. For me personally, I can still see him wanting to play for a top team. I mean, over the summer, he had an offer from Saudi Arabia to move there, but he wants to play in the Champions League. So I could see him playing for a team that compete in the Champions League. Will that be in the Premier League? Well, Man City have got Haaland now. He'll never go to Liverpool. Chelsea genuinely could possibly go to Chelsea, although they've just signed Aubameyang, so that may not happen. So I can definitely see Ronaldo probably, not definitely, but probably move abroad. But let me know what you think is going to happen to Ronaldo in the comments below. And should he be out of the Man United team, or is Erik Ten Hag right? Now let's move on to the rest of the Premier League action, starting with Forest 1, Liverpool 0. Undoubtedly the shock of the weekend. Forest, who at the time were bottom of the league, managed to win at the City Ground against Liverpool. A fantastic defensive display from them. And yes, Liverpool missed glorious chances, but Forest were defensively very solid. Henderson made some amazing saves. And to be fair, Forest's performances have been improving slightly. You know, now in the last 3 games, they've only conceded 1 goal. And Steve Cooper clearly has a low enough ego and humble enough to change from a 3 centre-back formation that he prefers to going 4 at the back for the necessity of the team and the players that he has. And it's working. Forest are putting in better performances, and this is a massive result for them. Massive result for the city, massive result for the team to give them confidence and the fans confidence and belief that Steve Cooper and these players are the right group to take them forward and to stay up in the Premier League. So fair play Forest. And like I've said throughout the whole of the season when talking about Forest, since the start of the season, the amount of signings Forest made is ridiculous, but the most important signing was Dean Henderson. The best signing was Dean Henderson, and that's proving to be the case. You know, he made some great saves against Brighton. I think Brighton had 7 shots on target. He kept Forest in the West Ham game, and he's kept them in the Liverpool game. He is undoubtedly, in my opinion, their best signing. A great bit of business, and Forest have every chance of staying in the Premier League this season. As for Liverpool, Klopp suggested that this is Liverpool's new low. I mean, you can't really go too much lower than this for Liverpool at the moment. It's really not looking very good at all. They certainly won't win the league. The Champions League is on the line for sure. Their goal now will be to get to the top 4, maybe win a couple of domestic trophies. Is this the end of Klopp's cycle? And you know, it's hard to say really, because they beat Bournemouth 9-0 and they beat Man City and they beat Rangers 7-0, but then they lose to Nottingham Forest and they have surprise shock results here and there, and they keep drawing home at Anfield. So I don't know whether this is the end of the Klopp cycle. It's really hard to tell. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Then on to the rest of the Saturday action. We have Everton 3, Palace 0. I think a lot of people going to this game thought Palace, with their array of stunning attacking qualities in Michael Olise, Onsen Edouard, Zaha, Mateta, putting in better performances, and this performance was fantastic. Their pattern of play was excellent, their passing was fantastic, and they thoroughly deserved to win. Anthony Gordon continues to do well, and more importantly for Everton, Dominic Calvert-Lewin led the line, and with him in the team, Everton are just so much better. Then we have Man City 3, Brighton 1. Man City win at home, Haaland scores, it's inevitable. So that's just not really much more to say. Other than the fact that Brighton did score, Ederson looked dodgy in goal, but yeah, Man City just continue to roll on, don't they? So now for the games that took place on Sunday, starting with Saints 1, Arsenal 1. So Arsenal dropped points. Only the second time this season they've dropped points, which shows how much phenomenal season they've had, and also shows that's a really good point for Saints. They are absolutely in a relegation battle in my opinion, so any points they pick up against the supposedly top 6 teams is a good result. So the fact they drew in this game is very good, especially given they went behind. They came back in the second half, so it's a good point for them. Has Ralph turned a corner at Southampton? You know, they got a point against West Ham, which is okay. They beat Bournemouth. Now they've got a point against Arsenal. Perhaps they've turned a corner. Certainly they look better defensively. Bazunu looks more mature, and I think as he grows, as he plays more games, he'll only get better. I mean, he's so young, even for a goalkeeper, ridiculously young. So Saints could progress upwards. So looking good for Saints. For Arsenal, it's 2 points dropped, yes, but they're still top of the league and ahead of Man City by 2 points. It would have been so interesting to see Arsenal play Man City in midweek, but alas, it wasn't meant to be. And how long will Arsenal be at the top of the league before the World Cup? Maybe after the World Cup? Who knows? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this the end for Jesse Marsch? They lost at home against Fulham by 3-2. They were 1-0 up in this game, and then to concede 3 goals in the manner of which they did was really poor from their point of view. Jesse Marsch, I mean, it was reported by Phil Hay that Jesse Marsch would be given this game against Fulham. Now it's looking really precarious for him. And coming up to the World Cup now, are the Leeds owners going to react and act by getting rid of Jesse Marsch and bringing a new manager before the World Cup starts, and then while the World Cup's on, the new manager can implement his ideas to the players that aren't going to the World Cup? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Jesse Marsch safe at Leeds, or is he going? Also, shout out to Fulham. They are 7th in the league. Mitrovic is having a phenomenal season. Marco Silva is doing really well as the Premier League manager for Fulham. They're playing fantastic football. Harry Wilson's now back from injury for them. Things just are absolutely clicking for Fulham, and me, like loads of other people, thought they'd absolutely bomb in the league, but they're performing so well. Although I did say that Mitrovic would get goals. I said Mitrovic would minimum get 10 goals, and he's well on course to do that, so I did predict that. I just didn't think their defence would be good enough, but it's proving that they are. Then we have Villa 4, Brentford 0. After Steven Gerrard's sacking, the players seem rejuvenated and re-energised, scoring 3 goals in the opening 15 minutes. Imagine how you must be feeling if you're Gerrard, seeing that type of performance. That's just unbelievable. And then Ollie Watkins adds a 4th in the second half. So for Villa, an amazing result. They kind of are at the moment in a relegation battle, but if they play like that and they're getting a new manager who, you know, improves the team, then they won't be in a relegation battle for long. But who will be the new Villa manager? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are Brendan Rodgers' Leicester back after back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets, and a 4-0 thumping of Wolves away from home? Tielemans got the party started, a phenomenal strike from the Belgium, and then Jamie Vardy back in the goal contributions. So an amazing result for Leicester. Like I said, are they back? Because not only did they win, they've got back-to-back clean sheets. Brilliant for Brendan Rodgers and his Leicester team. Very timely before the World Cup because, well, it was always going to be an extreme case if Leicester were going to sack Brendan Rodgers because they can't really afford to sack him and bring in a new manager. But you'd have to say now Brendan Rodgers is going to stay at Leicester, certainly till after the World Cup. Then finally, Spurs 1, Newcastle 2, and this isn't a surprise, and here's why. Newcastle have been playing really well this season, especially against the top teams. They drew 3-3 at home against Man City after being 3-1 up, so arguably they deserved to win that game, and they conceded in the 90-odd minute against Liverpool. It was literally the last kick of the game in their only defeat so far this season, and they haven't lost at home. And now, of course, they've beaten Spurs away from home. A brilliant win for Newcastle and Eddie Howe. They're 4th in the league. And I think after this takeover, a lot of people realised that eventually Newcastle were going to finish in the Champions League spots. But will they do it this season? And will Eddie Howe be the man to take Newcastle to the Champions League? For Spurs, it's not been a good week, losing at Old Trafford, now losing at home to Newcastle, but it's only their first loss at home this season, and they're still having a great season. They're still 3rd, so they're still well in amongst the pack in terms of finishing in the top 4, or even so far this season, still in with the threat of winning the league. You know, we're still really early on in the season. They could go on a crazy run, so it's not disaster for Spurs, but it's definitely a setback for them. So that's my Premier League review. I really hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate that. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like I said, on this channel, I'm a sports enthusiast. I'm not an expert in any sport, but I just like talking about them. So your comments are really important to me, especially your constructive feedback. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please like and subscribe. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Thank you very much.